everybody. I am so excited today to talk with Clare Kennedy, who, in my mind, and I know a lot of other people's minds, is Clare Kindness. Clare is from the Central Coast of California in the San Luis Obispo area, and she has been known now for several years as a kindness coach, consultant, and just overall kind person. And so I think that her story is just really intriguing. And now more than ever, I feel like kindness should be at the forefront of all of our interactions. And I just feel like Claire has some really awesome things to share. So Claire, welcome to California Pulse. I'm super excited to have you today.
Thank you for having me. Live
Yeah,
for
it's
kindness in
awesome.
2025. Thanks for
Yes,
promoting kindness today.
it's awesome. Thank you. So, all right. So being known as Claire Kindness is, I mean, that's not like normal, right? I mean, but especially it feels like sometimes now. So what happened? Like what started in your mind? What was the start of becoming Claire Kindness?
Oh, it was not my plan. So in 2016, the elections, I felt like the news was very negative and people were starting to get polarized. And I started this blog about goodness in families and goodness in your neighborhoods and in the world. And it was called Oh, These Are the Good Old Days. And then I just wanted to remind people like we're awesome as humans and humanity is beautiful and there's so much more good than bad. So it was a blog and then it turned into a podcast about kind people in San Luis. Um, and I think I was such a lover of kindness that I was trying to find a business name and it turned to be Claire Kindness. And I never thought that I'd be like, I'm a kind person. I'm just a lover of kindness and sharing other people's stories. But, anyways, I started doing public speaking about kindness and I kind of niched down to kindness in the workplace. Um, yeah. And now I'm doing business coaching with a focus on kindness. hmm
Awesome. So I know that you're a keynote speaker about kindness. So, what are some of the things that you go into businesses or I guess what nonprofits or groups or whatever?
Uh-huh.
What are some of the things you talk about?
Well, in my keynote, I talk about the myths of kindness that people think that if you're a good business person, you got to be cutthroat and um, like a narcissist, sociopath kind of person, or even not even that, just like very like certain way, serious or whatever. But the most successful people make kindness their trademark, and they're ultra successful because people love them because who they are and what they're doing in the world. So that was one myth. And then I talk about how um, there's a huge difference between being nice and being kind. And so it gets really good conversations going about um, a nice person is pleasant and inoffensive, but a kind person takes action to show people around them that they're loved and seen and cared for. So, kindness is an action and it's a verb. Um, and that's just really important to be mindful of. And we talk about how if somebody loses a spouse and you say, I'm so sorry, that's a nice thing. But if you say, oh, girl, you're in it, we gotta like get you a meal train and take your kids for like a special day, like just take action. Um, and then the other one, kindness is a weakness, which people that are kind are kind of like the people that stand up and advocate for others and they're bold and fierce. So those are the three things that I talk about. We talk about the benefits of kindness, how you live longer, you're more vivacious. Do you want to make 20,000 more a year? Do you want to live 4 years more? So it's like, yeah.
I
Kind of
love that.
slow.
I love what you said about, kindness being more of an action
Yeah.
verb, right? So, can you talk a little bit more about, give more of some ideas about what it what it means to be, that kindness is more like an action verb. You touched on it a
Um,
little bit, but
I feel like if you are a nice person, you're kind of meek and kind of like, oh, nice, okay. But if you're kind, it's like people respect you and like people know where you stand. And I feel like clarity is kindness. So I feel like people perhaps I'm talking to business owners a lot. Like
mhm.
maybe they're hesitant to take a stand for what they believe in, but I say go for it. The people that are successful or taking a stand, and sometimes it's uncomfortable and tricky, and I feel like um what was I going to say about that, that
I get it.
that
Taking a
that
stand. Yeah.
you feel better, and the more you do the more you do.
Yeah.
And I feel like I care about immigrants and refugees, and I feel like, oh, I'm uncomfortable. Well, too bad. They were uncomfortable when they're fleeing violence in their countries coming to America. The least I can do is speak about how I want to welcome them. So I kind of feel like I want to be good to myself, my family, my neighbors, and then my brothers and sisters around the world. But it's not always the easiest thing, but it'll feel right when you're.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to say it just came back to me.
Yeah.
When you want to tell people who you are, I feel like sometimes people say what they hate, or they'll put a bumper sticker on their car like, F that, screw. I feel like if you speak to what you love, it's more magnetic. So um, there's a vibrational scale in our bodies and in the world, and there's hate, fear, yada, yada, yada. You go higher, and it's gratitude, peace, love, joy. Authenticity is the very highest. So I think if you want to have something happen, you can either work from the energy of fear and anger. And I don't think that will get you to your goal if you're coming from an energy of gratitude and optimism and possibility. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I want to do and how I want to be.
I had not really thought of kindness as being bold and taking a stand for what you believe in and who you want to be kind to and help out. So I really appreciate this talk because it it's true. Being like if you say somebody's kind or somebody's nice, nice means kind of like what you just said, it's well, they're nice. But what does that mean? Like it just means they're nice, but being kind, yeah, I had not thought about it being an active type of thing where you have to like if you're nice, you're not necessarily deliberately choosing to be nice. You're just kind of one of those nice people. But if you're kind, that's like you have to deliberately choose to be kind because there are a lot of situations in life where you have to choose, okay, am I going to be kind right now? Or am I just going to like fly off the handle, right? And just react to
Oh, yeah.
whatever, right? So do you have like a favorite story that you'd like to tell about either you or someone chose to be kind in a situation where maybe, I don't know, people might not be?
I feel like there's a couple stories I want to talk about, and one of them is a big picture with Black Lives Matter and George Floyd being murdered. People are like, well, I'm not like doing hate crimes and I'm not doing like anything violent. Well, like
Sure,
that's
sure.
nice. But like a kind thing is to like write letters to lawmakers and like donate to charities that support people and that are hurting and marginalized. So I feel like like to be anti-racist is like to take action because the way things are now aren't as good as they could be. So social
Yeah.
change comes from kind people like the white students at the cafe counter in Alabama during the civil rights movements. Like that was a kind thing for them to do is to take action and sit there and get things thrown at them. And so that was one thing, like in a big picture. And then
Yeah.
like a little micro example is that my buddy Joe and I were getting on the elevator on Monday morning. This is when I worked at Boeing. He said, "Hey, Claire Bear, how's it going?" I said, "Oh, it's good. I'm going to do my one-on-one employee evaluation with Justin." And he goes, "Oh, I hope it goes well. I know it will." And I said, "Thanks." And that was very nice of him to say to me. But then he took it a step further and he said, "I want to help you. Can I send a testimonial to Justin about how you really helped me with that project last month?" I'm like, "Yes, that would be amazing." And
Oh,
so he
yeah.
took action to support me. And it probably didn't take him too long to send that like couple sentences paragraph to him. And it made me feel so good. I feel like I'll always remember he did that to support me. And then since I got laid off from Boeing, my friends have been reaching out and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry this happened." And I say thank you. And then they're like, "I know somebody. I would love to recommend you to them." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that makes me feel so good that you would put your name in support of me." So yeah,
Yeah.
action, action, action.
Yeah. Is it ever, are people ever intimidated by you? Like, do they feel like they need to outkind you or, you know?
Um, Well, I feel like I am not the kindest person in the world, and I've definitely made mistakes in the past, especially around election season when I'm just like, "You're a jack ASS." Like, I'm like, that doesn't help anything or anybody. Like, why did I, like you were saying, react? Like, if you
Yeah.
can like take time to respond thoughtfully, get curious, that's better. But yeah, people tease me about being sweet and kind and stuff, but I'm definitely imperfect and I've lost my patience with my kids. Um,
What? You're human? No way.
haha.
All right. So you touched a little bit on, you'd had a long career with a large company and you've had some transition fairly recently, right? So you've transitioned into, you were, from what I understand, you were Claire Kindness part-time, not,
Yeah.
I mean, full-time in your life, but like part-time. Now you are Claire Kindness full-time, probably plus, because now you're in this business full-time. So tell me about what does it mean to be a kindness coach?
Oh, well, it's funny because it was my passion and a side hustle, and now I'm like, I have more time to explore writing a book and speaking in front of people. And I think, what could I do? Could I get that show on Netflix? Could I write this book?
Ooh,
So, of course I could. Like people are doing it. There's a ton of cool things about kindness. Right now I'm putting my services on thebash.com and people around the country are hiring me to come speak to their groups and it's so exciting. People have like monthly trainings they do for their work and self-improvement and inspirational stuff and kindness. People are like, "Yes." They're just like there's it's like visceral, like, "Yes, kindness." And I'm like, "Oh, you like kindness?" Um, and then I'm doing partnering with small business owners, helping them market themselves with an emphasis on kindness to their employees, to their customers, to the community. I think like it used to be nice to have a charity that you supported, and now it's like a must-have. Like
mm,
when people work somewhere, like they have a big connection to saving the planet or helping people in our community, it makes them feel good about going to work. And yeah, it's everything.
that is so exciting. So you're educating me on, tell me the name of the website or app again.
Yeah, it's called thebash.com. And if you have to or get to organize an event for your company organization, you go there. It could be a holiday party and you're looking for a band and magician, or it could be an event where you're trying to hire a motivational speaker and you go look up who's available and you'll see me as the kindness workplace specialist.
Nice. That is awesome. Congratulations. What a great, I love hearing about all of these different opportunities for people to find gig work or, in your case, keynote speaking or, eval facilitation of workshops, that type of thing. So, yeah, thank you very much. So, okay.
Technology connects us in so many cool ways, and somebody in your life could be like, "Oh, you'll never make a living or career doing that." And you'll be like, "Oh, well, actually, maybe you think that because you haven't experienced that in your life, but there's endless possibilities of how to make money and connect with people in the world. So
Right.
I'd encourage
Yeah.
you if you have a skill and passion, like literally create it and do it, and
Yeah.
people will be magnetized to you. So what were you gonna say?
No, that's totally it. I mean, it's super exciting when you just kind of lean into your, like you said, lean into your passion and make your own path with it because you're right, people will gravitate towards you and you become magnetic that way for that particular thing. So yeah, kudos to you for that. So do you have are there any special groups that you kind of align yourself with that you want to talk about?
So many. This when I had Dr. Rhonda Beeman on my podcast, she teaches at Poly. She told me that we were number 2 in America for nonprofits, and
Woo!
I was like, yeah, we do have a lot of goodness going on in our town. Everything from uh, people created a mobile shower so people that are unhoused can go take a shower
Yes.
and have some dignity, and that's something I love. Shower for the people, and then I love I think it's called Home for Slow, that refugees from Ukraine and Afghanistan are coming to San Luis, and people are ready for them to get them settled here and slow and launch them into their beautiful businesses. And really exciting restaurant opened up. And what else? I mean, I could speak all day about the nonprofits and slow and all like the political stuff and activism and philanthropy, like nationwide. So I say like whatever you want to support the um, animals at woods that need to be adopted, go do that. Like if you want to pick fruit in your yard and give it to the food bank, do that. Whatever's your thing, do it.
Yeah,
Um, and bring it
kindness.
to other people, because when you invite someone to do good, like, do you want to go pet the kitties at Woods? Do you want to go like pick fruit for the food? Like people get so excited and like, yes, and they'll be grateful you invited them, because with COVID, we're so isolated and we forgot how to hang out and be around. Like, I think this thing in our world right now is like the loss of the third place. Like we used to go from home to work to the bar to home. We had like some
Yeah,
gathering place, and it kind of like went away. So we get food delivered to us at home. We work at our like bedroom desk, and then we're
yeah,
just like people. Like it's so like big. Like get around people. So yeah, do
yeah.
that. Do that with your people and help people and have fun.
Kindness, again, kindness equals action, and you're so right about inviting people along with you to do something rather than just like hang out, which is fine. You can be, I mean, it's great to hang out with people, but if you're hanging out to go help somebody else or help an animal or whatever, you're right, it becomes so much more of a meaningful activity. Not that everything we do has to be meaningful, but if you add more meaningful, it's like adding fruits and vegetables to your diet, right? It's like adding meaning to your daily life, right?
It's good because depression is so real. I worked at corporate and everyone's like, how are you? Great. How are you? Great. I'm like, are we all great? Like, I think 1 in 4 of us are suffering from depression and anxiety. And if you think about doing something, it could be overwhelming. Like, do I want to go to the beach? But then if you just like have a chill morning, like picking up trash on the beach, then you get your exercise, your vitamin D, and it's like good. So, yeah, do
Yeah.
it if you can. I know, so like depression can get so crippling you can't even get out of bed, but like if you can, do it. And if you can't, reach out. People will, I'm like just going way off topic, but I've
No, that's
experienced
no, it
depression, and people are like, why didn't you tell me? And I'm like, I literally couldn't. But like, yeah, just shoot a text to somebody if you can do it.
shoot a text, send an email, suggest something to do that you're right. It's one thing to go to the beach. That's great. That's cool. Everybody should do it, if you have the opportunity. But, inviting people along to go to the beach and pick up trash is even a bigger, bolder, kinder. Nobody's going to see it but you and your friend, right? But it doesn't matter because it's being kind to everybody. That, yeah, that's awesome. I really, Really appreciate that. So what are some of the kinds of businesses that you either do work with or would absolutely love to work with in your kindness consulting coaching role?
Thank you. Not corporations that are busting unions and being totally, yeah, no. I'm like, hey, you people, please, Walmart, please don't call me. Just kidding. Um,
Hey, it might be the best thing that ever happened to them.
um, yeah, I guess I shouldn't speak to what I do. I'll speak to what I do want.
Yeah,
And I'm lucky that I am involved in the Slow Women's Network. It's a really neat group, and I found my first few clients there, female-owned businesses, doing good in the world and bringing beauty into the world. So my first client owned an art gallery in Morro Bay, and she
nice.
was such a neat person. She was doing Artist Day to Shine, where she'd feature a local artist, people could shop their work, and then the work sold, part of the profits would go to a local nonprofit, Atlas Animal Rescue. And so it's just so fun and so joyful. I mean, it could be, it's often hard being a business owner because it's so much work and you're just in it by yourself and no one's telling you good job and rubbing your back when you like get your taxes put in and stuff.
Right.
But when you're like working with someone like me and we're just like giddy, like high-fiving and dancing and shoulder shaking, we're like, we did it, we raised money. So I think anyone who's like, yeah, my business is good, but I want to be great and I want to bring more joyful energy to this space, like give me a call and we can collaborate and it'll be so fun.
I, you just really opened my eyes to a whole different way of approaching, small business success. I mean, incorporating kindness into everything that you do and the way you interact with customers, I'm assuming, right? And the way you interact with
Yeah.
prospects and
Oh,
come
yeah,
up with offerings.
I've had some really good interactions with really good people at cash registers lately because I'm like, am I annoying you when I go up to a cash register and someone like doesn't say anything and like I'm like leave and I look back and I'm like, you had an amazing opportunity to connect with me and you just like must have something going on. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like a kindness detective and every person I'm like, oh my God, how can I just like when I worked at Target, I was furloughed from Boeing and I thought it'd be like angry, cranky people because of COVID and masks and all the stuff.
Yeah.
But people were so sweet and kind and open-hearted. I was like so pleasantly surprised. This woman, I'm like, hey, oh, what's the deal on your necklace? And I'm swiping her stuff. She's like, my daughter gave this to me. I'm 60 years old and she's 40, and I think about her every day. And she's rubbing her necklace, like beaming, talking
Oh,
about her daughter. And I'm like, oh my God, like you guys are like family goals. Like if every daughter was so loved and she's like, thank you, honey. And she left. And I'm just like, "Oh, that was so cool. So
that is
yeah.
awesome. Do you feel like, I don't know how much traveling you've done around the US or the world. Do you feel like our area, I'm talking from the San Luis Obispo County area, right? Do you feel like our area is more kind, leans more kind than other places, or do you feel like we all need help?
Oh, good question. I'm very blessed. I've got to do a little bit of traveling in Europe and Canada and stuff, and I feel like I like stereotype people in a certain way. Like this guy helped me with my backpack on this train, and he was from Brazil, so I love Brazilian people. Like I totally am like this guy was the best. I feel like our area is pretty good, and when we see problems, we find cool ways to help. Like, I'm thinking specifically about Bang the Drum Brewery. Um, so they're a safe space for LGBT
Yep,
plus two-spirit community,
yep.
and because they're so cool, they're such a neat space. They've got stuff going on with their building, and I feel like the community's totally going to support them because, like, you have us, so we've got you.
Yeah.
Um, I do have that sense that there's scary stuff going on in the world, but I'll just say that when I go onto Nextdoor, people are like, oh, I da 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 da, this is going on, and then other people are like, we got you, and it makes me feel so happy.
Yeah. Yeah. I have actually seen you post on or respond to people on Nextdoor. Isn't that funny how small our world
Oh
gets?
wow.
Even on, a place like Nextdoor where there can be, and that is a place that can sometimes get pretty just like
I
any of
know.
the other social media platforms, right?
It's
But
funny. I'm like, people can be so petty, and I'm like, really? And then I get all judgy, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna like tell them how to be a person and be all rude. So I'm just like, oh, bless their hearts.
yeah, take a step back. You put on your kindness cap, right? And so you have children. Um, how hard is it to teach kindness to children or in your family? What does that look like?
Uh, Annoying them to the max, where they're rolling their eyes and pushing me away. And I
What are
go,
their ages?
okay, so my oldest is 12
Uh-huh.
and our youngest is 7. So when our 12-year-old goes to a slumber party and there's 5 girls, I'm like, sweet baby girl, like if another girl's not there, don't talk about her, and like don't talk about people when they're not around, unless it's good and kind. And then when you're going to the school dance, if somebody's gonna come up to you, be kind. And it's funny because my brother was correcting me and like, don't tell her to be nice to people. Like you want her to be able to stand up for herself. And I'm like, well, that's true. I don't want like people to mark her as a target to like, do you know what I'm saying? Like as a
Yeah.
woman in the world, a female young woman. But yeah, it's kind of a fine balance between being like kind and somebody that you can manipulate. So
Yeah.
that's something that's in my head. Like you've got social media, you've got um oh my gosh, there's so much, Michelle. I'm like and then with the 7-year-old, it's kind of just encouraging because they're so kind naturally. She's like, Mommy, like he didn't have any lunch, and so I gave him some of mine. I'm just like, and I think the thing instead of saying, I'm so proud of you, I stop and I go, you must be so proud of yourself. And she goes, I
Ah,
am. And so I feel like just encouraging what they're already doing is something. And instead of going, that's nice, and like chopping my dinner and not looking at her, I like get down on her level and look at her and I embrace her with this big hug. And I'm like, oh, this is the best. This is what it's all about. I love this. I love who you are. And I squeeze her and she's smiling. So I think being present, like life is super busy, but when things you okay, uh, also going way off. You're like I'm like way over here. But I'll say that when your kids are around you, you have opportunities to connect with them, especially first thing in the morning and right before they go to bed.
ah,
Um, don't just like, oh, brush your teeth, get in the bed, get out of here. Just like hold them and smell them and annoy them and say, I love you. And they're like, I know you just told me that because I know people in my life who said that their parents never said I love you, and I'm outraged. I'm like, never? They're like, no, I mean like I know they love me. They just didn't say it. So I'm like, I don't care. I'm gonna annoy you. I'd rather you be annoyed than not know that I love you.
yeah. It's so important, isn't it? Yeah. So the last thing I want to ask you is, um, how can people find out about you? How can they contact you to A, uh, hire you as a coach, B, hire you as a basically back office marketing assistant, et cetera, et cetera. C, how can they hire you as a keynote speaker or anything else? How can people find you to hire you
Yeah.
or just to have a kindness chat?
Yeah. Thank you so much. You can hire me. We could collaborate and do a fun event or just hang out. We can cheer each other online and be friends. And you could like bop into get my newsletter for tips on kindness. You can follow me on socials for inspiration and look at all the goodness going on in Slow and Beyond. But my website is www.clarekindness.com. It's CLARE clarekindness.com, and then my socials, Clare Kindness. So I'm on Instagram a lot and I'd love to connect. And thank you for today, Michelle. And
Yeah,
thanks for
thank
being
you.
so kind to me when I was getting into the Slow Women's Network and you were the social media website expert and I was a noob, and you were so kind and patient to me. And now I'm doing what I'm doing because you were encouraging me and helping me. So thank you, Michelle.
Oh, well, and I'm thinking back, okay, was I kind? Was I always kind? I hope so.
Yeah. Yes, and I know I've been in places where I felt like um around people that are very a lot more educated than me, and it's very intimidating, and you were just so warm and good to me and fun and
Oh,
fun-loving.
well, whew,
Thank
phew. I'm glad to I'm glad to hear that because I also have to work at being kind. I know this about myself. So, thank you, Claire. You can find Claire Kindness at clarekindness.com. She's also known as Claire Kindness on socials, like she mentioned. My name is Michele Rempel, and this has been an kind and joyful episode of California Pulse. So thank you very much and have a kind day. Any last word you want to say? Any last like
you.
sending them out kind of word?
Yeah, it's really hard for everyone. It's hard for men when people are telling them they're not supposed to struggle and also don't ask for help. My heart's with you, men. My heart's with you, moms in postpartum depression. My heart's with you, people with loved ones that are going through health stuff. I just hope that everyone is kind to you and supportive as you're going through life. Love you all. Don't know you, but I love you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a
Bye,
good
everyone.
rest of
Bye.
your day. Be kind.